Hello, Abigail here with the Tarotscopes for Aries season, Capricorn sun, moon, and rising. All right, Capricorns, this Aries season is beyond chaotic. So we enter into Aries season with the spring equinox. That is always the beginning. When the sun moves into Aries, that is when spring officially starts. But this year, it's extra special because we're entering in the eclipse portal between the Mercury ruled Virgo full moon eclipse, lunar eclipse, and then the solar eclipse in Aries. So this is more chaotic and more intense than a normal season. On top of that, we have Venus retrograde and we have Mercury retrograde and then Neptune, the end of April, right after that solar eclipse in Aries, not end of April, end of March, is going into Aries for the first time. And then we get Venus and Mercury stationing direct in April, and then Mars, right as we enter into Taurus season, goes into Leo. There's just so much happening. One point that really did stand out to me is the full moon in Libra. It's our first kind of Libra moment without the eclipses involved. And also Venus stations direct on that day. It's the 12th of April. So kind of keep an eye out. There's some, tricky things going on because we do have Mars up in Cancer in that square to the nodes. But it is a relief. It feels like things are finally starting to shift. I will say, when people have been asking me, when can I do stuff in readings and like, when will I get this? For a lot of people, not all. If you have a very specific chart, this may not be true. But a lot of this energy is not really going to fully be digested because there's so much of it until around end of Cancer season. So, beginning of July. Just be aware that that's kind of the trajectory. It also feels very timely with the fact that Gemini is getting its first ingress from Uranus. So just know that a lot's going to happen this year. And this is our, beginning of the new zodiacal year. I can't remember how many times I have mispronounced that today. Anyways, so a lot of things are shifting and changing. So I start these with Aries and I go with whatever the beginning season is. So if it's Aries season, I start with Aries. If it's Capricorn season, I start with Capricorn. And so the first kind of 6 signs were really intense, a lot of rest, a lot of downtime. But as I'm moving into the later, zodiac, it's really starting to look like stuff is really shifting and changing. Now, I don't really think it is stuff that you can physically move on your own through the pure strength of your being. Yes, Capricorns. I'm saying that maybe you can't do something through pure strength, but the universe is doing it for you. But let's get into this and talk to the cards about it. So, your archetype card is the unseen. I love this. It's not everything is as it appears. And also, there's a lot going on that we don't see as human beings if we're just kind of looking at the surface of things. I feel like this season is going to be a lot of kind of propitious moments and happenstance and luck, quote unquote, for you. And so, look towards that as for hope, but also look within and look at the unseen. Feel out with your intuition the things that are behind the scenes and behind that curtain. you know, Figure out what's going on. I think part of the reason why the season might be a little lighter for you is because, thank goodness, we are no longer having these massive aspects to Saturn with like the sun. However, we are going to have aspects with Venus and Mercury again, so buckle up. But there is more of an ease on this, second Saturn event versus the first time. It's pretty tense for all of us. Um, but yeah, as a Saturn ruled sign, you need to look at what is unseen, what is under the surface. It's a very kind of Saturn in Pisces ethos, that kind of going in to the parts that we don't see and meddling around in it. But what is unseen is more important than what you can see. So really lock into your intuition this season. Listen to yourself. Listen to what you feel called to. And if you get some random intuitions about stuff, trust them. Like if something tells you not to go somewhere, or if something says, you know, this opportunity or thing just isn't what you think it is, and you're like, but it looks so good. Maybe trust that small voice. Maybe trust. And the small voice is not the voice of anxiety. There's a big difference. The voice of anxiety is urgent. The voice of intuition is consistent and gently insistent, unless you ignore it all the time and then it just shuts up. So don't do that. And then moving into your cards, I do love this because this is also what Sagittarius got, the Hierophant. And I love this representation because it's this idea of interconnectivity and kind of holistic understanding and knowledge and connection. The Hierophant has other little shroomies attached to it, and there's that little root system. It's a reminder about knowledge and about understanding and about how the best kind is very deep rooted and seeks out knowledge unbiased to what it is, simply to glean the nutrients it needs from that specific source. And that while doing that, it also enriches everything around it and breaks things down and creates a fertile soil, not just for its little mushroom clan, but for all of the other ecosystem. Your knowledge, your learning, your cultivation of your own life needs to firstly happen. And second, permeate others' lives and benefit them and bring them joy and richness. Sometimes I feel like Capricorn has been like hyper capitalized. And because of the signature with the US Pluto and things like that, Capricorn has kind of been seen as this ice cold taker and producer. And I don't think that's true. I think Capricorn is much more magical than we give them credit for. Like, for Pete's sake, folks, the the symbol of Capricorn is a sea, half land creature. You live between worlds. You are, the beginning of winter in this hemisphere. Um, you are able to kind of create things out of nothing. Transmutation is your job. So if you can, look at yourself as this whole being, look at yourself as this beautiful source of nurture. And it doesn't mean that people need to take from you and overwhelm you and make things difficult for you. That's not the point. The point is that you find a holistic way to do what Saturn does. Tear down and rebuild and decompose things to make room for better things, to make room for healthier things. So engage in mushroom activities. Take that out however you want. But become a part of your environment. And instead of building up walls, maybe make it your power to break them down, to destroy them, to crumble them, to remove illusion, to bring things from the depths into the light of day. Very magical of you. Um, and then we have this beautiful magician card. It feels like, so obviously everyone has different parts in their chart. You can go check out your sun, moon, or rising and other signs. They might be a little spicier than this, but in the place where Capricorn is, there's a lot of magic. There's a lot of understanding and transformation. And like I was talking with this with transmutation, this is a moment where I think I know that by just being you, you're going to create something beautiful. And that doesn't mean that you need to labor. You don't need to labor. You just need to exist. Kind of going back to the Hierophant, being a shroom. Um, you just need to exist and magic will happen. And what will happen if you just exist? What do you think will happen if you just exist with all of the magical entanglements and composition that makes up who you are? Where is that magic? And how does it kind of unfold and permeate not just your lives, but the lives around you? So this season, maybe your goal is, and this is very Aries because the sun in Aries is exalted. What happens if you were just you? And how much magic do you think that's just going to create on its own? And it's going to be a lot. I'll just tell you that. You're going to, if you just let yourself be, if you listen to your needs, if you follow your instincts, I think you're going to find that things come a lot more easily. And the ease of them doesn't negate the value. In fact, you have more energy to do great things. So, this season, be yourself. I know it's more simple than it sounds, but if you ever consider what it might feel like, this might seem weird. What it might feel like to just be a tree, to feel firmly rooted in the ground, to simply exist as who you are meant to be. And I think something really magical might come out of this season if you just stay rooted in who you are this season. The doubts, garbage. And you can accept them. You can say, "Yes, I see you. I understand your concerns." Because sometimes if we suppress things, they can get out of hand. But, maybe just be you and find out what happens when instead of constantly reaching out for things or feeling like you have to do something, you just exist in the way you were meant to exist. And there will be a clapback from capitalism because they want you desperate. They want you fighting. They want you clawing for resources. What if you are the resource for yourself? Just a thought. And yeah, like I said, it's more simple than that. We all have struggles and stuff, but in the places that you can, where you can, where they're like, can't remember the phrase, but it's like, I don't chase, I attract. What if you just waited or drew stuff to you? Because you were very magnetic, Capricorn. It's a very magnetic combination of astrology that makes up most Capricorns. And then we have a beautiful Mother of Pentacles. And this is about that internal cultivation. That is about that kind of growing from the inside out. I do love how pretty much all of these cards are about growth and expansion and kind of coming into self. Like the apple tree is simply being itself. The apple tree is just producing apples. It's a miracle what the apple tree does, but it is just itself. So, how can you just nurture and just be who you are meant to be and take stock of everything that you are and everything that you bring to the world and all of the good things that are contained in you? And yeah, all of us have things that we might not like, but how many of those things are just stuff that people have told us to tear us down? Just asking. So, just root down. Just be the bounteous person that you are in this season. You don't need to do anything in order to get the things that I see in this spread. It's really about cultivating that inner world and caring for the internal parts of self. And when you are in good soil and you are cared for and well pruned, you will have a bountiful harvest. That's just how things go. Um, So do the pruning that you need to do, which is just trimming off extraneous bits. It's not a lot of effort. Also, don't hack off a branch. Like you are who you are. You need the main base of who you are. But don't change yourself this season. Simply see what happens when you give yourself the space to be who you need to be. And then a nice little Son of Pentacles, which I love this. This is slow and steady wins the race. I've gotten a lot of Page of Wands recently, which is very much kind of like just follow the passion, do what feels good for you. But this one is just a reminder to do the little things. You're looking to draw in these big, beautiful things, and I think you will. But a part of that drawing in is just doing the small stuff, just doing the little day to day things that seem really mundane, but are actually very magical, step by step, inch by inch, moment by moment. Um, and don't feel forced. Like if there's something that can be put off in this eclipse season, put it off. Like what's the worst thing that can happen? I say this and then something happens. No, but my point is like if things are overwhelming, what's the point in pushing yourself? Just do what is necessary and let the rest go. Release that need to constantly produce and to be and to exist and to function and to make things work. Yeah. Things are already working. Things are already going. It's just about you stepping into the role that you have basically built in for you. And last but not least, we do have this lovely being, the Daughter of Cups. This is the Page of Cups. And every time I get this card this season, this is all I have to say. Not really all I have to say. I can wax pretty lyrical. But if everything is serious and heavy and a lot, which it is, why not have fun? Why not be silly, goofy? Why not embrace joy? Why not express how you feel? Why not approach things with honesty? And I'm not talking putting yourself in a dangerous position by telling people how you feel all the time. But why not engage with the universe in a way, and with the energy in a way, well, with light little feet, being creative, having fun. So in the season, if things get heavy and you're like, I am being myself, nothing's happening. Are you being yourself? Are you being all of yourself? Are you being the full range and panorama of emotions? Are you having fun? Are you engaging in joy? Are you going out on a beautiful spring day and just taking in the energy of growth and change and transformation? If not, do it. Go out, be with the birds and the trees and nature and all of the glories that are in the natural world. A part of being who we are as people is remembering that we are also earth, and we are also plants, and we are also water, and we're also fire. We are a part of our environment. And so often we get in this mindset as people in capitalistic colonial cultures that we are somehow separate and elevated, and we lose that connection to the innateness of self. It's kind of like how a lot of, Capricorn literature, Capricorn propaganda, um, gets separated from the creature that Capricorn is. Capricorn is a creature, and a creature that doesn't really make sense. We've got the goat's head and hooves, and then the sea creature body. Get back to those roots, get back to the creature that you are, and enjoy the world in whatever form you find it in. And just by you being present, transformation will happen. I've never met a Capricorn who hasn't been able to transform. And yeah, maybe you're not able to transform things the way other people want you to do, but that's not your job. Anyways, that is my reading for you this Aries season. Blessed Aries season, blessed spring equinox. It feels in this season as though you are a lightning rod for intuition and spiritual growth. And as we started out this reading, the unseen. So embrace that. Enjoy it. It doesn't have to be for forever. Maybe it's just for Aries season, but maybe you get a taste of something that you want more of and you carry that throughout the rest of the zodiac year. All right, my loves, please like and subscribe if this felt resonant to you, and I will see you in a different space and time.